What's up, everyone? Welcome to this day in Philly sports history for June 4th, 2025. I'm your host, Jim Montgomery. Welcome to a Wednesday edition of the podcast. Happy Hump Day to everyone out there. It is June. Today is, if I can get through noon today and my 5th grade graduation ceremony go off without a hitch, I'll be good and I'll be officially on the downward slope toward a lot less stress. Summer hours, yes, I have to work all summer, but a lot less stress. No kids, no teachers. Just get time to recharge and relax. But with June means the end of school year. Obviously, trips down the shore. Beach Caddy has you covered. Nobody wants to start their vacation out stressed out, especially after you just sat in traffic getting down to the shore. So Beach Caddy has you covered. If you're in Ocean City, Sea Isle, Avalon, Stone Harbor, or Wildwood, let them do the move in and move out for you. One less hassle. You don't have to worry about the kids running into traffic. You don't have to worry about arguing with the wife or the in-laws or your mom or your dad. Just sit down, have a beer, let Beach Caddy take care of it for you, and then grab one of their beach carts as well. These things are legit. These are the good beach carts with the big blow-up inflatable wheels, not those little plastic things that as soon as you get off the ramp, boom, they're stuck in the sand. Beach Caddy's got you covered this summer. Let them take the stress out of your trip down to the shore. Use the promo code Jimbo to take 10% off their bellhop service, which is the move in, move out. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to get all sweaty. And then get a beach cart for the week. Take 10% off of that as well. But Beach Caddy, if you're in Ocean City, Sea Isle, Avalon, Stone Harbor, or Wildwood, they will take the stress out of your vacation. Use the promo code Jimbo to take 10% off. Move in, move out, and cart rental for the week. All right. Phillies, speaking of stress-free, jumped out on the Blue Jays early. They were up, 6-0, 7-0. At one point, it was 8-0. But in the first inning, home runs by Trey Turner and Bryce Harper. Bryce Harper, I think we realized, and I think a lot of times we were hard on him, me included, early in the season about his slow start. But to borrow a line from another Philly guy from back in the day, Reggie Jackson used to say, I'm the straw that stirs the drink. Bryce Harper is the straw for the Phillies drink. I mean, just missed 4 games. They lost all 4 of those games. They looked terrible doing it. All of a sudden, he comes back in, and the offense explodes, and they're back to kind of their normal, what they have been. So I take back all the Bryce slander I may or may not have spewed here on this podcast earlier this season. Trey Turner can't play a lick of defense at shortstop, but, man, if he can hit 2 homers every now and then, I'll take it. Christopher Sanchez had a good road start. Went 6 innings, but usually the road is his kryptonite. The fact that he was good on the road, I will take it. Good start to this road trip. They look to win the series tonight. Mick Abel will make his 2nd start of the season. Very, very excited to see this game tonight. He'll take on, I think Jose Berrios is pitching for the Blue Jays, but I'm anxious to see if Mick Abel can continue what he did yesterday, especially against a good offensive team like the Blue Jays. This isn't the Rockies or the Pirates, or I guess it was the Pirates because he went up against Paul Skeens. This certainly is not the Pirates lineup, so I'm anxious to see what Mick Abel has. Is it going to be a bullpen piece? Is it going to allow them to move somebody to the bullpen? Very excited for this, but Phil's good win yesterday, 8-3. Bryce is back, MV3. Obviously, like I said, I like that analogy. He's the straw that stirs the Phillies drink. But Mick Abel tonight up in Toronto. And before we get into housekeeping, everybody knows, and we talk about it, I talk about it all the time, that the Sixers are just a dumpster fire of a team. And it starts with the owner, and everybody out there loves Joshua Harris for what he's doing with the Commanders. Everybody loves him with the Devils, I guess. I don't know. I would assume so. Everybody praises him, but he's horrible with the Sixers. He's an absentee owner. He's leaving Daryl Morey and Elton Brand to make the decisions. I'm hoping that Jameer Nelson kind of breathes some new light in there. But take solace in the fact that the New York Knicks, even though they were in the Eastern Conference Finals, are just as big of a dumpster fire as the Sixers, firing their coach, Tom Thibodeau, yesterday. After leading them past expectations, he was fired. Not sure. Something just doesn't smell right here. I don't know if there's something. I hope not. But in the world we live in, you never know. Hopefully there's nothing like external that Tom did. Maybe it's just, I don't know. The players seem to have liked him. Management, not so much. I'm anxious to see how this plays out. Lots of rumors about Jay Wright coming there, teaming up with his old team. Dan Hurley's been thrown around. But take solace in the fact that the New York Knicks are just as dysfunctional as your team, your town, your 76ers. Not sure how to feel about that one because don't like the Knicks, don't like New York teams in general. Not even very fond of the city of New York. But this is a questionable move. But a hilarious move. You got to love it when you're dysfunctional and you see people that are more dysfunctional than you. So good job, Knicks. Good job. All right, let's get to that housekeeping now. Sorry, it's ridiculous. I don't get it, don't understand it. But hey, be sure to follow me on social media, Jimbo_Mott on Twitter and TikTok. On Instagram at PhillyJimbo. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Jimbo_Mott. Continue to spread the word. You guys have been doing great with that. If you're a newer listener, welcome. I need to get better at welcoming new listeners. I appreciate you being here. And if you want to see highlights of whatever we're talking about that day, I post clips, I post photos, newspaper headlines, all kinds of things dealing with what we talk about in this day in Philly sports history on my social media, including Facebook and LinkedIn. So hit me up there. The Discord chat is live. We have some good Philly sports conversations, one of which I previewed. If you're in the Discord chat, I previewed it last night. We're going to be talking about here in a minute. But come over, have some fun, talk some Philly sports. And of course, this is episode number 1001. Can't believe that here we are, 1001 straight days. However, that will be coming to an end as June 20th. I will be dropping this podcast to Monday through Friday. And part of that, like I said yesterday, was to kind of free up some time. We talked Tuesday motivation to be present and don't let the people that you're with think that you have something more important to do. Sometimes I have been distracted, so it'll free up some time to hang out with the kids and things like that. But I'm more excited because it's going to free up some time to do some special things on the weekends, like interviews. I'm working on a Eagles pregame show for Sundays this fall, or pregames this fall. So I'm excited to kind of expand the reach and expand what we do here while keeping true to the historical Philadelphia sports roots here. So that starts June 20th. Obviously, I'm going to be including some new, I mentioned this, some new special segments during the week. We've done the trivia, which has done well. So looking forward to that. One thing's for sure, though. We're not as dysfunctional as the Knicks. At least not here at this day in Philly sports history. All right, we've been talking about Lot Win a lot. These guys are great. Go get your 3D custom hype chain made. Great for kids sports. Great for fantasy football, which I got to start because I've been so busy at work. I got to actually start. We're thinking of expanding my fantasy league. I know this is off topic during the Lot Win read, but got to get on that, man. It's been super busy, but debating, thinking I'm going to get a couple hype chains, one for the loser, one for the winner. These things are great. Great for bachelor parties, just around the office. So many. The possibilities are endless with Lotwin. So go to lotwin.com, get your 3D custom hype chain. Use the promo code TCCPOD to take 10% off your order. And like I said, these things are amazing. Want to get one? I'm probably going to get a couple of them if I'm being completely honest with you. But go to Lotwin. Get your 3D custom hype chain and use that promo code TCCPOD for 10% off of your order. All right, some Eagles news. Lots of Eagles news. Is there still, I guess today, I believe, is the last day of OTAs. But the Bryce Huff trade is official. And I don't know how Howie does this, man. And I feel like Howie's the guy that's like hyping up the trade to the other general manager. I feel like he's in John Lynch's ear like, yo, man, you're going to reunite him with Robert Saleh. Look how good he did with Robert Saleh. Give me a fifth-round pick, it's a conditional fifth-round pick that could be a fourth if he hits certain incentives. And he's like, yeah, man, throw me a fourth. He's going to do well. He's going back to his old coach. Not sure how he did it, but Howie Roseman was able to really, I don't know what he does or what wizardry he does, but the Bryce Huff is official. It was a fifth-round conditional pick that could be a fourth if Bryce Huff hits certain incentives. And I can see Howie now. Yeah, John, man, listen, this dude's going to be great. He doesn't fit into our system because of Vic, but, man, he was a great teammate, supported everybody, put him back with Salah. Yeah, come on, man. Come on. And, like, that's how I picture the call going. From one dysfunctional New York team to another, I saw this come across my timeline a couple times yesterday, but Kayvon Thibodeau, from one Thibodeau to another, Kayvon Thibodeau from the Giants was on the Kevin Hart, I don't know if it's an internet show, podcast, whatever, where they get into the ice bath, and basically said, Eagles fans are not that smart. I have statistics to prove just how how big of effing idiots they are. And Kevin Hart just had a look on his face. And look, in the Clashing Conferences Discord channel, we were having a conversation yesterday morning about this, and I look at it like this: every fan base is going to have those fans that are just, doesn't matter what the team does, they're just going to blindly say we're winning the Super Bowl every year. And all you need to do sometimes is listen, and it goes both ways. There's sometimes where no matter what the teams do, they're going to be like they're terrible and they suck. It goes back to the old Philly mentality. But, I mean, if you listen to 610 WIP, 97.5, look at Eagles Twitter half the time, you're going to have that 10% of the fan base that just are out of their minds. Doesn't mean everybody is like that. It's the vocal minority that people kind of facing on. Most of the Eagles and Phillies fans and Philadelphia sports fans that I know are very knowledgeable, very realistic. I probably am more closer to the vocal minority 10% than most Philly fans. And I feel like I'm very rooted in reality. But there are times where, like Donovan McNabb, for instance, I'm over the top with my support for Donovan. So the fact that Kayvon's saying this while playing for probably one of the top 3 dysfunctional franchises in the NFL is laughable. Blindly put their faith for years in Daniel Jones, even though we all knew the truth about Daniel Jones. Let Saquon walk, publicly embarrassed him on national TV. But sure, talk about Philly fans, Kayvon. Whatever's going to make you sleep better at night. I did see, too, thanks to my friends at Eagles Nation on Twitter, the early betting lines are out for the Eagles season. And other than the Buffalo and Kansas City games, the Eagles are favored in every game this season. And both of those games, they're opening at 1.5-point underdogs, which the way kind of lines and everything move, those are probably pick'em games on neutral fields, and probably the Eagles hit slight favorites at home. But Vegas is apparently high on the Eagles early on right now in June. All right, and finally, Vic Fangio spoke yesterday and said a lot. Very tight-lipped a lot of times, but if you kind of, I watched the interview, and if you kind of read between some of the lines, Jahad Campbell is going to start as inside linebacker, kind of learn Fangio's system. Says he has a huge upside as a pass rusher. Probably will not be practicing until like August, though. Has Cooper DeJean probably starting as the nickel, but is working him in some safety and cornerback as well. And he was okay with C.J. Gardner-Johnson being traded. He said it was a salary cap thing, but I'm okay with it. Likes Tristan McCollum. and is very excited to see what Jordan Davis can do. Apparently, Jordan Davis has come in really good shape to OTAs. Fell in love with Peloton, apparently. So good for Jordan, and he seems poised to have another big year. But the big takeaway, and I love this, absolutely love this, Jeremiah Trotter had said that based on his observations and just talking with guys on the team, that Jalen Carter still does not know how to play fully his position as defensive tackle. He is still learning how to play, which is insane considering just how dominant he's been. And Vic Fangio flat out said, I agree with Trot. He still has a lot to learn. The sky is the limit for him. And oh my goodness, like if that is the case, man, look out, because you've seen how dominant he's been without knowing fully how to play the position. So I really like that. But let me know your thoughts on that. It's not the question of the day, but if Jalen Carter is still learning how to play, how good is this dude going to be? And to have Vic Fangio say that, I feel as though that's kind of like the highest compliment you can get from a guy who's very old school and really doesn't like to put people in if they don't know what they're doing. But the dude is just so dominant, and his talent and strength are just off the charts. Man, I like the sounds of that. So maybe, just maybe, the defense isn't going to be as big of a question as we thought next year. We also have some Flyers news, though. They extended Noah Cates, 4-year, $4 million per year. I like this move. It's good for the rebuild. He is not going to be the star defenseman that you want, but he's a grinder, good second, third line guy once they start bringing in the other pieces and the young guys start coming up. So I like this move for the Flyers a lot. Kind of a low-risk, high-reward type signing, but we'll take it. All right, and then yesterday's trivia question. I said we talked about Davey Johnson hitting a walk-off grand slam for the Phillies on that day. I asked you who are the career. It was the second of the season. So who are the career leaders in Major League Baseball for career walk-off grand slams? And there's 4 guys: Ben Broussard, Rich Reese, Willie McCovey, and Ron Northey. Those guys they've all done it from 1947 to the present day. So 3 walk-off grand slams by Ben Broussard, Rich Reese, Willie McCovey, and Ron Northey. That was yesterday's trivia question. We'll have another one later here in the show. I mentioned Clashing Conferences. Check them out. Lots of great things happening with their Sports Fan Network. Go to clashingconferences.com to see how you can join, how you can be a member, and what they have to offer. You're in need of media services, they got you covered there too. So just go to clashingconferences.com, see what they have to offer, how you can get involved, and then be sure to check out their podcast. New episodes drop Thursday and Friday. Fun podcast, great. It's basically the podcasts are simply, and this is what you get when you join the network, it's just like going to the bar and talking trash over a couple beers with your friends. So go to clashingconferences.com to see how you can join and get involved and all the benefits that they have to offer. And then, of course, Philly Goat, the OG of this podcast. Father's Day's coming up. Don't forget about Dad. Phillies are playing the Blue Jays. Every time they play the Blue Jays, especially in Toronto, I have that PTSD from Joe Carter sitting in my basement, still like saying, if it was a foul ball, it was a foul ball. It wasn't even close to being foul. But they got the Joe Carter Ruined My Childhood jersey. If your dad's around my age, or you are a dad around my age, you know what I'm talking about. They got those Philly Fanatic Rocks glasses, got the slides, the canvas loafers. I'm wearing the Cape Mays. It's after Memorial Day, so I can bust out the Cape Mays. These things are comfortable. Just go scroll through their site, do some shopping for Dad, and then use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off your order. If you play your cards right, you can get some stuff for Dad, and then buy yourself something too with the promo code. So go to Philly Goat, use the promo code Jim Montgomery to take 10% off of your order. All right, June 4th was a busy day in Philly sports history. And first, we're going to go back to 1964. And as good early in the season as the 1964 Phillies were, on this day, they were no hit by the Dodgers. Sandy Koufax faced the minimum 27 batters. Dick Allen walked, but was thrown out stealing. It was the only thing that kept Sandy from having a perfect game. It was the third no-hitter of his career, and a little personal tie to Sandy Koufax. He is one of my fraternity brothers from the University of Cincinnati. He is a Pi Lambda Phi from Cincinnati. So there's the Philly tie for that. But the Phillies were no-hit by Sandy Koufax on this day in 1964. Fast forward to 1996. Phils beat the Cubs 12-3. Greg Jeffries made his return from the disabled list, went 4 for 5, 2 doubles and 2 RBI, had a thumb injury early in the season. Pete Incaviglia hit a pair of 3-run homers. Phils evened their record at 28-28. It was the last time that season, though, they were at 500 or better, as they would just falter down the stretch, finishing 67-95. Just not a good season for the Phils, but high point of the season, Greg Jeffries comes off the disabled list, goes 4 for 5, 2 ribbies, 2 doubles, and Pete Incaviglia with a pair of 3-run homers. And then we're going to go to 2013, and it's like a walk-off grand slam sort of theme, but on this day in 2013, the Phillies beat the Marlins 7-3 in 11 innings with a walk-off grand slam by John Mayberry to win it for the Phils. It was actually his second home run in extra innings that day. He became the first Philly to ever hit 2 home runs in extra innings, and the first time in Major League Baseball since 1987 that it's happened. But John Mayberry hit a homer in the 10th, homer in the 11th, walk-off grand slam as the Phillies beat the Marlins on this day in 2013. And then shifting to hockey, on this day in 2010, Flyers even the Stanley Cup Finals at 2 against the Blackhawks. They won both games at home. The crowd was in a frenzy. They were all fired up, all pumped up. Mike Richards, Matt Carl, Claude Giroux, Lily Vano, and Jeff Carter all scored for the Flyers, who unfortunately would go on to lose the next 2 games. The last Game 6 in overtime at the Wells Fargo Center. But that was a magical run. That was when they were down 3-0 to Boston. Game 7, down 3-0, battled back, won, and then took out the Canadiens to go to the finals. But it was the high point for the Flyers in that Stanley Cup run as they beat the Red Wings 5-2 or 5-3 to even that series at 2 games apiece. Flyers did win both games 3 and 4 at home, and like you can see from the clips, everybody was all oranged up and all fired up and ready to go. All right, going back to the Phillies for our trivia question today. From 1984 to 2000, Phillies went to the World Series in 1983, and then 2001 was when things started to kind of turn better with those underachieving teams that were just out of the wild card race. But from 1984 to 2000, how many winning seasons did the Phillies have? That is today's trivia question. So that's what? 26 seasons? So in 26 seasons, how many winning seasons did they have during that time period? That is today's trivia question. Hit me up on the Discord, any of my social media, as well as the Back to the Future voice and text line. All right, finally today, it's summertime. It's tournament time. We always do a tournament during the summer, and this year we're doing the greatest individual season in Philly sports history. Yesterday's matchup was out of the Phillies bracket. The number 6 seed, 1986, Mike Schmidt, took on the 11 seed, 1997, Kurt Schilling. And it was Mike Schmidt beating Kurt Schilling with 75% of the vote. Thank you for voting. We got another exciting matchup today. And in honor of the Stanley Cup win back in 2010, we're going to the Flyers region today. And we have a 7-10 matchup. The number 7 seed, Eric Lindros' 95-96 season was his best statistical season. The year before, I debated which season to put in. The year before was a strike-shortened season. So I wanted to put the best statistical season for him. That strike-shortened season, he did win the Hart Trophy as the MVP. But in 95-96, scored a career-high 115 points on 47 goals. He was an all-star, finished 3rd in the Hart Trophy voting that year. He had a plus-minus of 32 and just really came into his own and emerged as one of the most dominant, if not the most dominant player in the league. From a team perspective, the team won the Atlantic Division, had the number 1 seed in the Eastern Conference, but lost in the second round that year. But the number 7 seed, 95-96, Eric Lindros, goes up against the number 10 seed. We could see an upset here. I don't know. And that is 1986-1987 Ron Hextall. His rookie year, probably the best year of his career. He went 37-21-6, had a .902 save percentage, a 2.52 goals against average. He was second in the Calder Memorial Trophy for rookie. Lost to Luke Robitaille that year. However, it was Hextall with the last laugh as the Flyers went on a deep Stanley Cup run, taking the Edmonton Oilers to 7 games before finally falling short. Hextall did win the Vezina Trophy as the MVP of the Stanley Cup playoffs. Now it's your turn. Which Flyer season was better? Was it 1995-96 Eric Lindros when he scored 115 points? Or 1986-87 Ron Hextall, his rookie year, Vezina Trophy winner, and just probably his best season as a professional hockey player? Get your vote in. Hit up on the Discord channel. Hit me up on social media. Call me, text me, whatever you got to do. Smoke signals, all that good stuff. Get your vote in for the best Flyer season between Eric Lindros in 95-96 and Ron Hextall in 86-87. On this day, Flyers did even the Stanley Cup Finals at 2 games apiece in 2010. John Mayberry in 2013 hit 2 home runs in extra innings, including a walk-off grand slam, which seems to be the theme this week so far. Greg Jeffries returned to go 4 for 5 with 2 doubles. Pete Incaviglia hit 2 3-run homers as the Phillies got to 500 and would get no better that season in 1996. And Sandy Koufax no-hit the 1964 Phillies on this day, facing the minimum of 27 batters. All right. I'll have more energy tomorrow after I just got to get through lunchtime today. But be sure to check out any of our sponsors. Let me know your thoughts on Jalen Carter not fully knowing the ins and outs of a defensive tackle position in the NFL, which is just insane to even think about. We'll have more on the Phillies Blue Jays. Hopefully Mick Abel can keep it going tonight up in Toronto. Have a great hump day. This has been This Day in Philly Sports History for June 4th, 2025. My name's Jim Montgomery. Go enjoy the warm weather today, and until next time, I'll see you when I see you.